Hey, this is Rich Castle coming from the KW Philly office in Pennsylvania. I'm reaching out to everybody to give some great info on how to leverage command and create virtual tours through the Designs tab that are mobile friendly. Plenty of real estate websites that generate analytics show that majority of the consumers will actually use their phone to find the right house for them. So why shouldn't we be making and adapting these virtual tours to be able to see on the mobile platform clearly? I know a lot of people run into issues doing that with the command website. There's certainly a lot of walls that people run into, and their ability is kind of hindered because of that. But I'm here to show you some tips and tricks on how to get past it. Just as a disclaimer, I am not an IT guy. I am not a professional coder. I don't work direct with KW. I just have spent a lot of hours on command, found the limitations, and then found ways around those limitations through creativity and just pure endurance. So this session is going to be to show everybody at least the workflow that I use. So I encourage you to get creative however you want. I'm going to show you how I do it, how I organize it, and the various websites that I use in addition to support that. The way that I set it up, my mind is that I always try to create a really immersive experience for the buyer. So I'm hoping that this kind of conveys what I'm going to be showing you. Just a couple of vocabulary words that we want to be using when we speak to clients, either sellers or buyers. Virtual reality is a medium in which that you can watch the content. So videos and 360 photo tours, that's the actual content. So those aren't really virtual reality, and that's not the virtual tour. That's just the content that we use on the medium of virtual reality. And for every agent out there that uses a photo slide with music behind it, that is not a virtual tour, and you know who I'm talking about. So no judgment here, but we'll definitely show you how to make the most of this. So in addition to what I try to be able to get across my clients, and what you should be able to do as well, is that we're not just creating a virtual tour, we're trying to create a virtual buying experience. And I'm going to be using the opportunities tab to show you how to plug in instant offer on these sites as well, to really circle and create this connectivity of this virtual buying experience. So this whole flow is going to be me doing it as if I was creating it from nothing. I'm going to be sharing the spreadsheet with everybody in the post. So the way, this may look a little confusing, but the way that I have all of this structured is showing the exact orientation that I set up these tours, right? So I'm going to go into my tabs, start a brand new. Now the agent site, I think there's a lot of limitations because the specific widgets that you can use are different than the standalone pages. So I've kind of focused on the standalone for now. Click. So the first thing I will do is, this is property. We're going to be using 1507 South Ringgold as an example. So I will do the branded header. Now when you configure this widget, don't be fooled and don't put text here, okay? Because it looks nice on the computer, however on the phone it kind of gets bunched up and it doesn't look good. So we'll be able to put that later for the video. I like to organize this and be as effective and efficient with my time as possible. So I start with the bottom ones first because it's easier to stack them on top of each other rather than under each other, just because of the way command is set up. So I'll do the listings. Throw a video in there. And in between, do the text boxes. Now, everybody always talks about link versus quote versus link box versus text. I think they all work. I just use the text box because it's just pretty straightforward and it's easier. So I will go to configure my widgets. I find that configuring the widgets first before putting in the coding makes it you have a higher percentage of it not kind of like screwing up and making you restart over again, because sometimes command freaks out and it does that. Everybody's experienced it. So I'll put that as the header. 100% Ringgold. I used to put text in here so it would appear underneath. A lot of my tours change over time on how I structure it because I just try to make it smooth and attractive to the buyer. What I found is when I put my 360 photo tour underneath of this, I put wording underneath on top of that just to give direction on how to use it. I found that it gets a little wordy, so I've kind of been avoiding putting text in there. So I have my YouTube video set up. So the whole purpose of me having this set up like this to show you is that every tour you have, it's easier than going to different websites, copy and pasting and putting it all in. No, I have it all set up like this, and I plug and play the different URL codes for the coding just so I have it right at my fingertips. So I'll put my video in, save and apply. Go to the next. Actually, we'll do this. So what I'm talking about is here, people sometimes want to put text in there because it looks cool, but it does not look good for the mobile. So I just push one space and save. Down, listing. Sometimes I'll choose a different picture. Again, it's really going to be preference to you because they slide. So by the time they get down to the slider, it's probably a different photo. Done. So now we get to the fun part. So on the sheet as well, I've given you additional notes that you can just kind of look at and reference as you're building this for yourself. So now I am putting in the instructions for the 360 photo tour. I copy and paste. Now, when you do that, make sure that there is no space between here and here when you copy and paste. This is the technique. Ready? Double click. Now, once you've had that, so tip for the verbiage, you double click, pause, and then click until you get this. Once that comes up, you click outside of the box. Otherwise, if you keep clicking, it pops over to the left and it doesn't look right. So again, copy and paste, no spaces on either side. Double click, click. Sometimes you gotta highlight it. Double click, click, done. Click outside of the box, and now you're good to go. How I built that was through the HTML editor. So before I do that, I come in here, I write, this is an example, 360 photo tour. I center it, bold, underline, you can change the format, all depends on what you're going for. And then you copy and paste this code. And then you go into the box, click, double click, click, boom, done, easy, fast. Once you get used to these tours, you should really be able to bang these out 5 to 10 minutes at most because you're already organized, like I said, through the sheet. So ahead of time, I put my YouTube video here, I put the title here, I already copy and paste my other coding. So you should be able to speed through these. Now here's a perfect example of something that you may run into with command. I don't know how, it doesn't give me the option to click out of this and delete it. So I go to 3 lines, I click through until I find that one, and I delete. See? Perfect example of command kind of going a little haywire. So everything I just did was for nothing because it just kicked me out of it. So I also suggest that you periodically save the landing page so that if that happens, you don't waste all your time. But again, you should be able to just crush this pretty quick. So configure my widgets, space. So I think eventually I'm going to change this up, and it's going to say, you know, um, the address and then virtual buying experience, and then reference the fact that there's a link for the offer. I'm not sure. I like to keep adapting it and changing it so it stays fresh. So got my video up, listing. Now by default, these widgets will keep the same width for mobile landing page. There we go. Now I'm protected. Should have done that to begin with. What are you going to do? Now I'll go back, add my text box. See, if I highlight this and I click copy and paste and I paste it and it's got this little space right here, the overall code won't work correctly, so you have to have 0 spaces. Double click, click outside, now it's saved. Go back down. Now, here is the best fun part that I think a lot of people are going to have, like aha moments, because I see some agents have gotten crafty and they've been able to put, you know, for example, their Matterport 360 photo tours or whatever other virtual reality tours that they use into their iframe coding, but they say, oh, it's not the same width, it's oversized compared to the other widgets, and it doesn't look clean, it doesn't make you look professional. So during my search over the internet, I had put in Google coding from a not a street tour website that I'll show you later on. And I realized out of all the iframes that I put in, it actually fit the width. So I just adopted that same code and changed the URL for the 360 photo tour every single time. So this specific code, that means this specific website is my 360 tour. Now, where it says put your URL here, follow it, copy and paste. So you'll see I put it in between the SRC equals quotation. Now I'm going to highlight all of that, copy paste, double click. Now for this one, I just keep clicking until it pops. Boom. Look at that. Makes me excited. So now this is the full width of the computer. It's also going to be the full width of the phone, which is awesome. I've chosen 580 pixels height. The reason I did that is because on most phones and tablets, it actually is a pretty good ratio. You are more than welcome to keep it the same size, do it shorter, longer. It's really your preference, but that's up to you. So this 360 photo tour software that I use specifically is called iSpy 360. I own my own 360 camera. I decided to purchase it because I think you can do a lot more with owning your own technology instead of just renting it, essentially, because when you hire somebody to do Matterport, you burn a bunch of cash for one listing and you have to keep repeating and repeating and repeating. When you own your own technology, you can keep duplicating it over as many listings as you want. This specific technology though, and I'll show you shortly, you can do so much with it. I mean, you can embed street view. I think, you know, you can see the neighborhood. So this is the actual front of the house I put in front of the house. It's so cool. And I have my video tour, and it follows you as you move. It's very, very intuitive for people to use, and it looks nice. And then it also has that dollhouse feature, which Matterport has. It looks really clean, and you can hire the company to also do this for you, but I do it all myself. I think you know, once you learn the software, you can get through it pretty quickly. But it's very cool to use. I mean, it's like the same feel as the other one. Anyway, so, and I'll get more into this 360 photo tour if you're interested, but I'm just a huge fan of it. The main reason I'm a really big fan of it is because you can click this button and it literally takes you to a live chat with the agent. Okay, so my face will appear here as a video chat because it uses the phone or the computer, and then your client's face will appear here, and you can physically talk to them in real time, and as I move the screen, their screen moves, and vice versa. If they move the screen, my screen moves. So it's really cool. It's a great way to connect to people literally virtually. And what's great is you can have multiple people. So when I make this pop up, I send this out to as many people as I want. So for example, I advertise on MLS, hey, open house, take this code. Click on it. You can have up to 6 or 7 people seeing it all at the same time. Or say, a couple's buying a house and they're using mom and dad's money, and the mom and dad want to see the property. You can host everybody at the same time. It's really cool. So here's a screenshot of I took. I did an open house. Look, I got that quarantine hair. It's crazy. So I did an open house. I took a screenshot before a bunch of other people popped on, but this is someone in a completely different place than I was, and we were live chatting, and I was going through the house. So I just think it's just incredible technology that you can leverage in an amazing way. And then in addition to, they have a little chat box here where if you lose connection, you can still talk to the person. But what's really cool is this is the dashboard. So this is the I Spy 360. If I click online, literally a live chat button will pop up right here for me to click and say, hey, chat with Rich live right now. It's incredible. Going on to the next. So right now, what I'm about to do really ties together, in my opinion, the virtual buying experience. So this is where it really comes together for me, the virtual buying experience. Command allows you to generate a URL link that has an offer page for your specific branded listing. So here's the instructions that I put in for people to make the offer. So you notice how it looks jumbled like this on this page, but then on this page, it actually is 2 separate lines. The way that we address that is 1, 2, 3. Oops, 1, 2, click, and then you go down to the second one. 1, 2, click, and now you click out of it, boom. Make an instant offer. If you don't have a realtor, you can skip this section. So this is one of my favorite parts about Command. I'm on a different site. I go to Opportunities. Go to your active listings. Go to the listing that you are advertising specifically, so 1507. I go to, now the way that you have to do this, once you make an opportunity, you have to connect the opportunity to a listed property. That's the only way it works. Click Offers, Generate Offer URL, bam. Now I go back to the coding, and again, I put URL here, copy and paste, highlight. Now again, this coding allows you to have the full width of a phone and the full width of the computer, which is so valuable. For this one, I keep it 1,000 pixels tall, just so they don't have to scroll like crazy. So keep clicking until it pops in. Oh, look at that. I think that's so awesome. So people can literally fill out their information and submit an offer that goes directly to you. Now, the only bummer is that currently, I don't receive notifications when people do this, so I have to go in every single day and check the active listings. And I have to go through each listing and see, hey, did somebody make an offer? I think eventually they're going to change it, and I hope they change it soon, because we should be able to get notifications if an offer is submitted through this platform, just like if somebody signs up for your app or somebody says they want to be a part of your referral. So that's essentially how I create this specific listing virtual tour. I think it's going to change over time, but as of right now, you saw that it only took me a couple minutes. Publish, yes. It says I haven't published, but I did. Try it again. There we go. Now, the final touch is change URL. I do 1507 underscore south underscore Ringgold. Tour. Now, tip to remember, if you create the link and you don't change the URL and you paste it everywhere and then you decide, oh, I want to brand it and do that, make it a different URL, the previous site that you post everywhere is a dead site, no longer works. So make sure you complete everything about the site that you want up front, and then you can start to advertise it. So I click on it. I'm also not a fan of this box that when that pops up, but here you go. A very easy to navigate, attractive, professional looking tour. And I'm talking about a full buyer experience, because not only does it give you content, and the content's the most important part because people can see pictures, but in order to be successful with this, you want to be able to deliver content to the buyer that they don't know about the house. So that's, through video, and it's through 360 view, and it's through, once I'm so obsessed with the house, what do I do next? Oh, I'm sitting in my bed at 9 o'clock at night with my significant other. Let's put an offer in. Let's see if we can get this place for a certain price. And if I have questions in that moment, I can't contact the agent. Well, here's additional information about the property. And then if I'm so curious about other properties, I can download your app, or I can sign up for your website. So I think it's really valuable to be able to build something like this really quickly. And I'm going to go into the other websites. So iframe is a very similar website to the HTML, but instead, let's give an example. You can take any website you want, plug it into the iframe. So you can iframe anything with this. It's awesome. HTML we already did. The iSpy 360 is just, it's killer. It's really great technology. It's pretty affordable, and basically, let me show you. So see how we're online right now? Let me show you this. This one. See? Look at that. Look at that. It offers us this, hi, I'm available to chat right now. If I click that, it's going to prompt me for whatever device I'm using. And then you get an answer. Ignore. So apologies if that was a super loud ringing right there. But if I clicked answer on that page, it tells me where the person's calling from, and then it connects me video face chat. Now, I'm going to hang up right now. But you can instantly live chat with anybody any time of the day. It's incredible. It's incredible. And what I really love about this software is the analytics. I don't think Matterport, which they've done an incredible job of monopolizing the market for 360 photo, but this software tracks my individual listings that I have on the tour, and then it tracks how many views I get. And it's pretty robust. And then I can choose on a 14-day exposure what my listings are looking like. And it breaks it out. It can even break it out on let me see, like a 2-day. Let's say I just drop the price and the seller says, well, did we get any activity? It's hard to tell other than MLS and other various sources, but I can see, we had a little activity. We had 8 showings from 2 a.m. to 6 p.m. between all of these tours, right? So let's say I want to do a specific tour. Now I can see where the traffic is coming from, percentage-wise. And then I can see actually what parts of the country that people are looking at it in. So I would have never guessed that somebody who was looking at a house in Philly, maybe from Memphis, and it gives you the, Rock Hill, and then it gives you the different breakdowns. So that makes sense. The majority of the people that are looking at the property because it's sold in Philly are in the Philadelphia region. But it's just incredible. And I'll give you another example that it actually works well, because when I advertised this offering, I had advertised it with this tour. I said, hey, here's an example of what you can make. So check it out. You can see that it's spread all across the country because there are a lot of agents around the country. Oh, let me see. Last 30 days. There we go. So when I use this example on the KW Command site, now you can see there are people looking at this property all over the country. Now the highest concentration is going to be in Philadelphia, but you have it all over the place. And this is just It's just really, really interesting and cool technology. I think it's more robust and more impactful on your business than a different site like a Matterport where you send it out to somebody and then you don't know if you're ever going to connect with them. All right, back to the site. Another one I use, because I own the 360 camera, I can create URL links for just a 360 photo. So this is a completely separate website just for this one photo. And you can change the perspective in real time. And then again, you can click this URL, put it in the prescribed location that I've pointed out to you. Copy and paste. We're going to edit the one we just did as a sample. Put it in a random spot. But boom, look at that. Look at that. So that'll appear on your website. And they can thumb through very easily. Publish. So the specific camera I use to have that option is called the Insta360. I think a lot of them are sold out now just because of this whole pandemic. Everybody's kind of shifted and geared towards this whole 360 photo movement. So a lot of those cameras are sold out, but I get good quality and it's a great price, so it checks a lot of the boxes. And you basically take the photo with that camera, and then on the app it asks you if you want to create an individual link through that. So you can actually share them on Facebook or wherever and use that instead of having to build out whole tours. Maybe you just want a couple rooms. It's up to you. Another website I use is the Google VR Creator. So we published. So again, you can embed this on your site and you create the scenes you want. So I picked hotspots around the neighborhood that people go to. So for example, there's a restaurant here. The next scene is a park, and you can click on little informational, little bubble, and it gives you stuff that I pulled from. So for example, I'm on Google, I copy and pasted reviews and I put them on this. So you can have like a neighborhood tour, because again, the virtual buying experience is not just about the house, but it's also about the neighborhood. So I'll give you a further example for 1316. Now I'm still trying to figure out this photo. And again, the 360 camera is pretty sweet because you can create 360 videos. So for example, I filmed a video that had 360 view. And other things I do with that 360 photo software, you can create and embed links. So the person could be on the tour as I'm doing an open house, and they can read about the property as I'm speaking, and it's as if they're almost there. So I'm still trying to figure out how to do full width photos. I try to do everything geared towards the mobile. So 365 width pixel is a better width for a mobile versus a computer. It looks funny on the computer, but it looks good for the mobile. I'm still trying to figure out how to do the full width. But this is a clickable photo. And this photo takes you to Google Earth, where you can create what's called projects. And these projects can translate into, again, hotspots. So I set it up where the house that I'm selling is like right over here, but there's a park right next door, so I want to highlight that. And then you can click to the next one. It's like a little breakfast spot. And this is actually pretty relatively easy to make, and I can do another video if people want me to do on the Google tour. And it gives you a little blurb that, right next to it. And it just looks very clean. And these are all spots around the house. So I'm selling the neighborhood. I'm not selling just the house. So I think it's pretty worthwhile to have. And then in addition to, I have the photo of the actual park in a 360 manner to get people excited about it. So by the time they get down to here, they're excited about the house, they're excited about the neighborhood. I want to keep them locked in and engaged and make an offer. Here's one example. So to create that clickable photo, I go into designs. I'm going to use this as an example. Once you create your design, you can then share as a URL. Copy and paste. And what are we going to do? You guessed it. We're going to pop that baby right into HTML editor. Delete. Go to photo. The source is the website. Click. Now this is the photo size. Like I said, 375 width is like the best for a phone, and that'll auto correct. Now you have the photo. Center, link, and we'll just use this as an example. Now the URL I put for the hyperlink, boom. Now, when I click this, when I copy and paste this, and I edit the tour, put it in, keep clicking, boom, look at that. Now, I can click. So you see, this is not an area where you click, but here you can click. So when you click, it takes you to that actual website. Very valuable, because I can't figure out how to do it on command. I had to figure out how to do it that way. Another way I use the photo clickable hyperlink is for my own rentals. So for example, I will create the video walkthrough for the tenant. I'll create the 360 tour, and at the bottom I can have click apply here, and it takes me right to the application platform. So just a ton of use for the hyperlink photo implementation on command. Another website that's really good is Google Earth. We talked about that. Google Maps. So Google Maps is great because you can embed actual maps. Okay, we'll just do the whole thing. Copy. I just want the code from between CR and about right here. Copy. Boom. So again, this is going to make it look like it's the full width of the computer, but more importantly, it gives you the full width of the actual map. Bang. So this whole width will actually match the width of the phone, which is just so awesome. And it gives you the map. So the listing, widget comes with the map, but I don't know if it's that great in the sense that, what just happened? I don't know if it's the same. I don't think you get the same functionality as if you were doing it with the Google Map. So that's a good one to know. And then Google Slides. This is my pre-listing packet. So this appears in the correct orientation for your phone. So it has all the information. I literally just used what was on command designs, and I just put in my own information. And then you can just click through it, and it gives you this ability. And look, you're on the command site. I give a little instructions on how to use it. If I skip, go there. And then I have little clickable pictures. Now the reason these are so tiny is because if you go on the phone, they are squeezed next to each other and they look correct. So I just did it for the phone. Again, I'm still trying to figure out the coding for that. So I can click, and it takes you right to my marketing. And then I have my Google Forms, which you can also do set up for homeowners. So this is a pre-listing packet. It asks you all these different questions about the home, so I can effectively price it correctly before I even meet you. And then it says, are you thinking about buying a home too at the very end? Then it can direct you to my buyer Google form. Yep. So Google Forms, those are really good. Pretty much covers it. What I can do is I can send you an iSpy 360 discount link if you want. Those are pretty valuable because it's just, I think you get so much out of it. It's so easy to use. Like, you take the photos with the 360 camera, you upload the 360 photo camera photos, and they all pop up, and then you say, hey, this doorway connects to that doorway. You literally just click, drag over, done, and it just looks really good. You have the little hotspot clickables. What I was saying is that Matterport, when you click it, you just go straight, wherever direction you're going. But here, I can actually click. I can set up where I want you to the scene to be saw when you click it. And then I take my 360 photo, right, that I can embed, and now I can show people what the cabinets look like as if they were open. And that's not something you can get from a 2D photo. I can zoom in and I can see, oh, I can fit my pots and pans there, and it follows you. It's great stuff. And if I want to jump to the roof, it's a pretty cool deck. Now I can also do photos. These light up at night, and I want to highlight that to people. It says it's solar powered lights that light up each cat post. And then if I have an aerial view, I can have it there of the deck. I'm a huge fan of this software. You can connect to people and just really sell real estate in a different way. And the other reason I think you should have a 360 camera, specifically the Insta360, is that you can create Facebook Live views of 360. So you take your tripod, you have your camera, you can be in an open house when you're allowed to run open houses, or if your state permits open houses in a vacant house, you can put that right in the middle of the house. You can speak, and people can turn the screen on their own time from when they want, and you can still be speaking, and it's like you're actually there. So this was my little presentation. Sorry if I was rambling on. At the end of the day, it's important that you can create a virtual buying experience for your customers, not only for the buyers to help you sell your listings, but also to show to sellers that you have adapted to this new way of marketing to win more listings. So my contact information is at the top. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Please let me know if you want me to do more of these videos specifically about these websites, and I'm happy to do it. Have a great day. Keep selling.